All right, guys, Blitz World Series action coming at you, and today we have the championship. You guys are on Twitch, obviously you know that. We just actually played the semifinal. If you're on YouTube, these are all separated. You're like, hey, these aren't in real time. That's no fun. You should come over to Twitch. If you're on YouTube, you should come to Twitch, watch them live. If you're on Twitch, you should go to YouTube, watch the highlights. Of course, all of you guys like, comment, subscribe. Free for you, helps me immensely. If you're feeling more generous than that and you do want to donate some money, all the money goes back to next month's prize pool. Next month, you guys know the drill. We're doing it again. Another tournament, more action, more barn burners. All those links for my Discord, if you guys want to play the tournament, you want to donate, you want to figure out what's going on, redalert2.com. Let's get into it here. We got Latov in red out of Kuwait, the Deso King, the reigning champion, #1 last month. But he's up against Marco. Marco, the GOAT, needs no introduction, fighting out of Finland in yellow here on the left side. And yeah, so this one should be a banger. Now, Latov came into Blitz last month. Obviously, Latov's a great traditional player. He came into Blitz last month. He wrecked everybody he took first. Marco took 4th last month. But, you know, Marco had been kind of sleeping at the wheel. He hadn't really been trying that hard. He was doing fine, putting up points for his Kian. Then last month he took 4th, and I think that upset Marco a little bit. So Marco already way behind right now in a very tricky position as Latov dives right down the middle and going to go right for this MCV. Can Marco hold the MCV? He's going to lose the MCV, and now Marco forced to make a counter punch. He's got to head right down the middle and try to make something happen here. He's going to chase down the tanks first. A very nice move. The Deso King out with the radar now, and a Desolator to try to slow things down, and a first point. We are right off to the races here. It is a best of 9, so we got plenty of action coming at you guys here today, and Marco's still chasing down these tanks. Gets caught on that wall though. A couple of his tanks caught on that wall for a second. Sentry gun spam from Latov, and Latov able to hold that counter punch. Now, the counter punch is huge here. Marco cannot afford to let off the gas right now. It just won't work. Literally, he doesn't have an MCV. We're 2 minutes into the game. He's on 1 War Factory. He has to just pump and pray right now and try to hope he can make something happen. But Latov going to go right down the gut, take out that War Factory, and should be able to seal out the game. Marco going to now split off. A couple tanks to defend, couple tanks downfield. Feigning on the top side, now pulling back out, and now going to punch down the middle. Latov still only on 1 War Factory, so not going to be too far out tanking here at the moment, but things are going to go from bad to worse. These Desolators causing a lot of issues for Marco on the top side as he pushes into the radar. Going to take the radar to cancel out the future Desolators, and look at this split from Marco, microing on top and bottom, but Latov meeting nicely, and Latov, that's why you call him the Deso King, and that was some top-level gameplay right there, but Latov got down the middle, saw that opening, made a very, very nice play, and, well, he took home the MCV and ultimately that first point. Like I said, very, very nice maneuver from Latov, and it paid off. Now, point number 2, Allied versus Allied now. We'll see what happens here. Allied versus Allied is where things are going to get a little weird with these guys. Of course, I don't know if I need to still say this. All of the top-level guys prefer Soviet, basically, in Blitz or Traditional. That's pretty much how it is. There's only a few exceptions to that rule. Of course, you have Andy, who prefers Allied, Allied Yuri. What other top-level players are there? I'm trying to think. I mean, Marsh prefers Allied. It's actually kind of interesting. Not many top-level guys who regularly prefer Allied. Of course, there's some maps. Oh yeah, Frank. Oh, and Luke. Yeah, that's right. Luke. Yeah, Luke's an Allied player as well. Luke, Frank, yeah. All right, so we're going to see, looks like the action going to come down to that bottom center area. Some GIs over from Latov to help hold. Marco not going GIs here, so in with straight Grizzlies and a couple scouts that have been pulled back. He's going to lose that power plant, though. He drives into those GIs and cleans up the GIs, but does need to be careful. Now a Rocky over. Surprised Marco pushed that. You know, he could have waited for the Rockies to show up. Pillbox now to help hold the Rockies. And Marco just severely out-tanked here. A very, very scary position. And Latov knows he's ahead. He's going to try to make something happen. Marco needs to hopefully try to pick off a couple Grizzlies. Ooh, IFV already there to match. And Latov is moving full speed right now, firing on all cylinders. And Marco in a bit of trouble now. Yeah, Latov, that's the thing too. Like Latov, you know, the YouTubers and stuff, people who don't follow Quick Match, Latov seems like kind of like the new guy, the less experienced guy, just because we haven't seen him in as many tournaments. Obviously, Marco's been playing Blitz tournaments for a few months, but the thing to understand is Marco pretty much shows up for the tournaments. Latov's been playing a lot more Quick Match. Latop's been getting a lot of reps. #1 quick match finisher the last couple months, and that definitely makes a difference. Now, Marco out now with 3 Eagles. He's going to need to use these Eagles defensively, try to take out a Grizzly, try to even these numbers out. Goes topside. He wants to try to get the AFC, tries to go around the Patriot missile, does get around the Patriot missile, but now the IFV's there. Does the AFC? Wow. and surgeon-like precision from Marco, getting around that Patriot missile. Laptop trying to counter with the IFE. The 3 Eagles got through and took the AFC. He only had 3 in that group, and you do need 3 to take an AFC, so very nice. But now the Rockies in. Marco without any anti-air. Oh, and his Eagles now going down. The Patriot missile out now to counter. He hovers the Eagles to save him. Nice move, and Marco staying alive. But Marco, I'm not sure how Marco caught up in this position. I think he's still behind on Grizzlies. Looks like he is, and that's going to be tough. And I'm surprised to not see Latov pushing this position with these Grizzlies more. Paradrop now on the top side. So Latov getting that Paradrop. Forcing Marco to do that Paradrop on the top side. Marco's going to walk those GIs back. AFC goes down. Both players exchanging a lot of AFC hits. Latov now on 2 AFCs. Marco does save those 4 Eagles, though. He builds another AFC. Nice move. Marco needs to be careful here. Marco is still out tanked. He needs to use his GIs defensively, try to slow this position down a little bit. Patriot missile on the front lines, and those Patriot missiles are nice, but they're slowing down his pillbox production, and I think Marco could have a couple pillboxes in this position. Interesting to not see Latov pushing more here. Against a player like Marco, Marco's tank control, his use of pillboxes, his defense is so top level that you see, an advantage. You have to have more of an advantage than you normally have to have, basically. Those Eagles go through a lot of Rockies, do not get that War Factory. That would have slowed down production and given Marco a little bit of a leg up here as we move into the mid game, and Latov gets his Battle Lab out. So now Marco behind on Battle Lab, pretty much across the board in this game, just kind of keeps taking hits, and Latov goes right to the back of Marco's base, gets out of range of those Patriot missiles, and snipes the War Factory. Luckily, Marco does have another War Factory, so his Grizzly production's not going to go AFK, and Latov does pay quite a few Rockies for that, but pretty good, nice spot from Latov to get through that opening and grab that War Factory. Slowing down the Grizzlies is nice, but ultimately, if Marco can't get Battle Lab tech out, he's going to be in trouble here. So snipers, yeah, so now snipers from Latov to try to get rid of these GIs. And now Marco, so Marco with the Grizzly advantage here, he's had a War Factory advantage for a while and takes out the machine shop on the top side. That can make a big difference once you start having these back and forth engagements. So Marco gets in, clears out a little bit, but needs to be careful. No anti-air in this group. Rocky's diving in now, and the Mirage tanks are coming. What does Marco do about these Mirage tanks? Marco on 10K, Latov on 3K. Different philosophies here. Marco has a lot of money in the bank. Yeah, that's great, but Latov might be straddling and utilizing his economy a bit more. If you're overproducing, it's not always a good thing. It means your oil ratio could actually be too high. It's not the worst problem to have, but it's not great either. Eagle's going to get in, grab that power plant. Probably put Marco low power, I would imagine. Naval yard out now for Marco, but the aircraft carrier is out. So Marco's going to start building Dolphins. So Dolphins over to counter that aircraft carrier. And now Eagles, yeah, and Marco's like, you're going to take my power plant? I'm going to take your power plant. So, Latov with a massive Mirage tank advantage right now and pulling ahead in the water as the Dolphins come out. He sneaks over with those Mirage tanks and takes a couple out. Oh, will we have the full engagement here? Prism tanks on the back end doing some nice work, good unit control, but the Mirages are heavily out tanking here, and a lot of Mirages for Latov left over. These Grizzlies are going to start melting, but the Prism tanks for Marco are getting a lot of damage done. I'd like to see Marco throw his Rockies in and commit to this engagement if he's going to. All right, so he is able to get out, and it's Latov who actually pulls out of that position. I'm surprised to not see him there. I guess he just feels like he's in a better position to bolster up, doesn't have to push there. I think he did have the Mirages ultimately to push in with the Rocky support. All 16 Eagles now hovering on the bottom. Grabs an oil. Latov gets an oil and a power plant as well. Loses a couple Eagles. Marco's Eagles all coming home. Marco on 14K, so Marco could actually afford to start sacrificing some Eagles here. Marco going heavy Prism tanks. This is scary for Marco. He does not have. You want some Mirages or some Grizzlies to kind of meat shield for the Prism tanks. Going heavy Prism tanks like this is a bit odd. Not really what you'd expect to see. So Rocky's going to go top left, pulled out of position to deal with that Paradrop. We'll see if Latov tries to jump on it. He does not. Latov now shifting the action to the top side of the map. And Marco a bit slow to respond here, but that's a bit of a bottleneck, so I think this is a slight defensive advantage. Yeah, it looks like Latov's just going to hit and run there. Neither player wants to be the aggressor in this position because of the Patriot missiles is a big reason, and because of the GIs. They both have a lot of defensive units that obviously can't come with them when they attack. So both players kind of drawing that line in the sand here. Now, of course, there's no timer on this map, so the action will roll on. But remember, guys, there is a limit on how many oils you can build. You can only build 12 oils per game. So as things start to get gummed up here in the late game, we're only at the 7-minute mark, man. A lot of action. This game feels like it's been going a lot longer. you know, you start picking off your opponent's oils, make them pay for it. You know, you sacrifice those Eagles, you slowly take out their oils. We saw this in Artie versus Luke. They had the longest blitz game of all time. Oh, and the Rockies dive in. The Rockies, but the Rocky advantage. Oh, nice unit control here from Marco. Gets a couple free hits, but these Rockies are really, really scary. Okay, so now Marco down with his Rockies. And so this battle, it'll come down to who can throw their Rockies, get the most value out of their Rockies. It's very difficult. Neither player with any IFVs, they don't want to switch over to IFVs. They want to use their Prism tanks, and Latop going to dive right in with the Rockies. Marco a little bit slow to respond. Marco now takes out a few of those Rockies. Marco with his own Rockies. Marco now going to dive on these Prism tanks. Oh, Marco a little bit missed unit control there. Those Rockies should have immediately dove on the Prism tanks. They kind of overshot them. But ultimately both players just wiping each other out. Marco now going to go bottom right. I'd love to see this oil get hit. I think it would take that oil with it and that War Factory. I think that's a pretty juicy one. He's going to pay a high price for it, but Marco's on 10K, and like I said, guys, the oils are not unlimited. So if you can chip away at your opponent's oils, it might be the first person to go broke that's going to lose this game. Yeah, this is interesting. A very, very, very long battle here. Both players just trying to get as much, but I love that they're both just kind of chomping at the bit. They want to get action. They don't want to stall this. They're just a little bit worried. That oil, nice hit. Oh, doesn't get the full chain reaction there. Wow. Oh, and a little bit missed unit control there around the water. These Prism tanks getting a little bit confused, and Marco needs to be a bit careful because, yeah, Latov could go right down the gut here, and Marco's not gapped up. That's very surprising to see. You'd think Marco would be gapped up here. And again, Marco with a bit scary unit control here. His Rocky's just a little bit slow to support, but these top level guys, a lot of times what I think of as a low level mistake, a lot of times it's at the top level, they're kind of playing mind games with each other. Like, to me, the Rockies are late, but it could be, you know, kind of a strategy to like throw off, you know, try to bait Latov out of position, make him think this, do that. Realistically, I could just be taking the bait in some of these positions. So another War Factory does go down. Ultimately, I think the better target is the oils, as both players starting to go broke now. Both players are starting to go broke. So what do we got? 3, 6, 9, 10. So both players are probably maxed out on their oils. Ooh, Marco only has 6, 7, 3, 6. Wait, that's not right. 8. Marco has 8. So about even. Oh yeah, Marco builds another one. Marco does have another one out now. Eagles coming in. Ooh, Eagles splitting up and taking some Prism tanks. Yeah, Marco broke. Latop on some more money. You can't build weather storms in on this map. You can only capture it. Chronosphere could be viable here, actually, though. So Marco's not gapped up. Latop is gapped up. Marco, yeah, it's just the money, the economy here is going to be a little bit interesting. The Eagles, I mean, when they had more money, they could have kept diving on oils, but now it's a bit expensive of an endeavor. Does take another oil. Ooh, that's a nice hit. And only a couple Eagles make it home there. So yeah, that's great value for Marco. These guys are going to go broke. These guys are going to go broke. Yeah, and again, guys, you cannot build more than 12 oils. So yeah, now we move into a bit of a staring match here. Both players obviously a little bit frustrated, saying, hey, why don't you attack me? They're saying, hey, I got an idea, why don't you attack me? Neither player wanting to push in. On this map, especially down the middle, you do come uphill as the attacker, which is a little bit tricky. I suppose you could attack around the perimeter, but obviously attacking uphill in real life, or Red Alert 2, never a great idea. So defensive paradrop now from Latov, and now Marco going to switch over to BFs. BF's out now from Marco, trying to mix things up, try to break out of the lockjam here. So both players for a while there in that mid game were probably just building on all tabs. Now you see them managing their economies a little bit better, and their money is catching up with them. Latov now 11K. Latop doing a good job protecting his oils. These oils are going to be very difficult to hit. I'd like to see a Chronosphere. I really would like to see a Chronosphere, a group of Prism tanks. You know, I think it's really Zed is the only player we've ever really seen utilize it at the top level, but Zed has gotten an immense amount of value. He's won many games with the Chronosphere, and it's hard because then your opponent has to be everywhere. You drop a group of Prism tanks up here, you could get a pretty nasty hit in. All right, and those money crates could be making a difference right now. Those are good to grab, free money. All right, so now BFs to the front. So Marco's gearing up a punch here. Marco's got his BFs on the front line, and here he comes. He pushes right in. Marco pushing right in. The BF's tanking for him, but the Rockies are doing work. He needs to pull those Prism tanks out. Marco's Rockies are not supporting those Rockies. Marco needs some IFVs. There's no anti-air. Heavily out-Rockied. I think Marco pulled ahead on the ground battle. That was a great idea, but ultimately he did not have the anti-air for these Rockies. Yeah, maybe a BF full of GGIs in the back or something. It's hard to say, but these Rockies are scary. But it's the Patriot missiles. That's why they're edging these Patriot missiles so close. Both players' anti-air zone is like to here. So I guess Marco just knows the Patriot missiles getting involved. He's pushing in now. Marco, now the IFVs in that group doing some work, but Laptop with so many Rocketeers. And what an exhausting battle this has been. Both players fighting tooth and nail to gain inches on the battlefield. Wow. Machine shops are down. Economy's in a similar position. Both players now on 15K. It's time to start diving Eagles. Go 5 AFCs, punch through, and start taking out oils. Eventually, someone's going to run out of oils, and the game will end. Yeah, Marco, slight War Factory advantage. Eagles coming bottom side. They're gonna find an opening here, and that's enough. Yep, and that's a nice hit. Grabs an oil, grabs a War Factory. Does pay all of his Eagles for it, but that's what it's going to come down to here. And to the 14-minute point here. Yeah, it's interesting to see this map playing so slow. You know, you'd think the problem is, you know, in my head I always thought like, oh, look at these openings, you can attack from anywhere. The problem is though is that if you come down here, your opponent can just punch right down the middle. So here's what you got to do. You got to build a bunch of walls. You wall off this entire section and then fight on the outside. That's the strategy. 8 Eagles now from Marco. Gonna try to grab a couple oils. He dives right in. Can he get a double oil hit? Double oil hit. Ooh, and one of the Eagles crashes in and grabs the power. So Marco is coming ahead on the Eagle exchanges right now. He's losing less Eagles. He's getting more value. Yeah, that's what it was. Hey, you guys asked for this. You guys all said that we had to get rid of the timer. And this is exactly why we had that timer. But you know, a game like this, there is, you know, this is the action's rolling on here. We do have a spy on the top side disguised as a Rocketeer. Not the best spy move because Rocketeer running on the ground is a little bit obvious. But the spies are an interesting move here. So Marco again going to gear up some BFs, try to make something happen. You boo him. I don't boo Marco and Laptop, Zed. I only boo you. Okay, it looks like we are going to see a little bit of a split here from Marco. BF's going topside. Prism Tank's going topside. Oh, and Laptop's Rocketeer advantage here is very, very scary. You got to think, so Marco doesn't really have, Marco's anti-air is all in power plants. So you got to think, if Laptop could dive in and blast all 4 of these power plants, I think Laptop could win the game right now. I think, well, he's gapped up, so he doesn't really know. I think Laptop could send his Eagles, dive on a power plant, push right in, grab the power plants. Marco's way behind on Rocketeers. Marco now on 31K and not building Rocketeers. Eagles coming in now. Marco on 30K. Marco should be able to win this game. Eagles coming in again, grabs another oil. And Laptop, this is death by 1,000 paper cuts right now. Death by 1,000 paper cuts. It's a game of wits. It's a game of strategies and tactics that you're not really used to in a lot of Blitz. But these guys, obviously, 2 of the best players in the world. It's fun to see them. You know they're thinking right now. They're strategizing. How do you pull this out? How do you get a leg up? It's fun to see. So, man, I think this is in Marco on 30K, Laptop on 0, and Laptop down to only a few oils. Laptop in trouble here, and Laptop's going to have to make a push. But I think Laptop has quite a bit of a unit advantage right now, to be honest. Does anyone know what those BFs are loaded up with? Hopefully GGIs, because I feel like Marco needs some more anti-air. And look at this on the top side. Marco's going to lose a few. Marco loses a few of his Rockies, and Marco's anti-air position is going from bad to worse. Now Marco finally pumping the Rocketeers. That's a lot of Rocketeers, guys. This is a lot of Rocketeers. I'm not sure if Marco has... Wait, Marco's pretty severely out-tanked as well, forcing into a bottleneck on the top side. Marco has this group of prisms on the top. He's going to bring those prisms in. The Rockies dive right in. What's the target for these Rockies? The Rockies moving around. Rockies now melting the prism tanks. Oh, Marco's prism tanks. Marco getting gobbled up here. And the Rocky control from Laptop, absolutely devastating. Laptop was broke. Marco did a great job with his Eagles, but ultimately what it came down... Oh, there's no anti-air in this group. The Elite Rockies. Can Marco hold? Can Marco hold? Use the Rockies. Use the Rockies. Marco holds the position, but he's down an MCV. He's down a Battle Lab. Is there anything left for him, guys? I'm not exactly sure. He's got 8 Eagles. And Latov's ready for the counter punch. A very, very nice push from Latov, going up to the top side, pushing in through that opening on the top, not coming through the crater was a good idea. So Marco gets in, grabs another oil and another power plant. Red Soldier with the follow, thanks buddy. The Warsmith with the follow, and I'm Bird. I missed all the follows. Thanks for the follows, guys. Appreciate it, appreciate it. Wow. Oh, the IFVs make a dive on those Rockies. That's scary. Wow. Yeah, and so that was just, you know what, Latov, if you guys went and rewatched that, Latov just caught Marco a little bit out of position. Marco's Prism tanks, they weren't all there. Latov pushed with that whole force, and then Marco kind of got himself ahead of the bottleneck. I think Marco, it's hard to say. Maybe it would have actually, I'm not sure. The bottleneck actually might have worked against Marco because Latov had his whole army like here, and then Marco's army was kind of stuck here. Whatever happened. Latov now on 4 oils, though. Yeah, that is a problem. And Marco's still on 27K. Latov is broke. And so Marco's got 2 barracks. So he's massing, 3 barracks, 3 wars, 2 AFCs, and a bunch of anti-air. And he's gapped up. Latov's dead ass broke. If Marco can keep chipping away at the oil, wow, this game could go on forever. This is only point number 2. Wow. Tanya IFV Kombucha? Yeah, I think you're absolutely right. Yep, and this is going to be the longest point of all time. You YouTubers, hey, you guys on YouTube, I know you guys like the quick action, okay? I know the Twitch guys, they're a little more the marathon fans. You guys are more the sprint fans. If you are getting a little bored, just fast forward to the next point. There's no reason to leave the video. Don't leave the video. Don't go watch cat videos. Grabs another oil, almost gets the MCV. Oh, he could. It was on 1 tick. Oh, it was on 1 tick. Oh, Marco could have tried to sui that, but actually, you saw how quick. Did you guys see how quick Latov got that engineer into repair? That put the MCV to 1 tick. Wow, if Marco could have crashed his planes in. Yeah, but Latov now stuck on a 3 oil economy trying to pump Battle Lab tech. I don't know what's going to happen, guys. We're at the 20-minute mark on this game. Wow. Oh yeah, 4 oils, Balth. I was doing that wrong too. Red Soldier, yeah, if you head over to redalert2.com, I walk you through the steps. You buy it on Origin, then you download a client to play it online. Really, really simple. It takes about 10 minutes. You can come play games with us. We got tournaments every month. All skill levels are welcome. Anyone can come play. I know you're thinking, I'm not good enough for a tournament. You are, because we have Division 5. We have a noob tournament. So head over to redalert2.com. Get the game downloaded, come play with us every month. Cash prizes, free to play. It's a hoot. He could sell off some Patriot missiles. Oh! Oh! Oh my god, a massive hit. Now the Battle Lab stays up, the War Factory stays up. Latov on 2 oils. Latov's dead ass broke. So the ball's in Latov's court, but Marco only has Grizzly tanks. He doesn't have a Battle Lab, you guys. And Marco makes a move for the Weather Storm. Oh, but the engineer gets shot. Marco, oh, I didn't realize that. Oh, Latov grabbed the Weather Storm, put himself low power. Latov's low power now. The Patriot missiles go down for a second. Wait, Latov's still low power. Latov's still low power. Marco could take a bite right now while the Rockies are away. The Patriot missiles are down, I think. Oh, these Grizzly tanks are in trouble. Patriot missiles back online now. Needs to get the Rockies out of there. Okay, now 8 Eagles going topside. Gonna grab another oil. He grabs another oil. Latov on his last oil, Derek. And Marco does steal that Weather Storm as well. And Marco has the power for the Weather Storm. So it's up. Latov has to make a push now. It's a lot of Grizzlies to push into. This is not a comfortable position for Latov, but he doesn't really have any options because he's dead broke. Oh yeah. Marco taking the Weather Storm actually might have worked. Well, Latov could have bought more power. You can only build 12 total. All right, so Latov, here comes the final stand for Latov. Latov now pulling back. Nice little bait and run. So he does bait Marco into his anti-air, into a defensive position, but still heavily out-tanked here. That's a lot of Grizzlies, you guys. Oh, Marco loses his anti-air. He thinks about running away. He goes in. He takes the power plants. Latov quits out. Oh my God. Marco takes it home. Jesus. Okay. All right, guys, so we both had both. This was the championship game we had originally planned it as best of 9. That was a 23-minute game. Both these guys, it's late for these guys. We've already been behind schedule quite a bit today, so both these guys have agreed. All three of us agreed to switch over to best of 7. If anyone's unfamiliar, anyone wants to know the logic behind that or gets upset about it, both the players agreed. If Latov said, hey, I want best of 7, and Marco said no, obviously we would not switch. If both the players agree, then we're going to do it. Obviously, it's 1-1 right now, so not a huge advantage for either. So, switching over to best of 7 now, point number 3, Marco taking Allied and Latov taking Soviet. So, GI is now pushing in from Marco on the top side. He's going to open Barracks and War Factory off that service depot on the top left. Machine Shop, sorry, not Service Depot. So, we're going to see Latov again. We saw this Latov versus Legend. He basically just gives up the Machine Shop, redraws the line in the sand, puts a bunker, and brings the radar out. GIs, yeah, I think versus Latov, opening the GIs is almost necessary. I think honestly at the top level you got to open GIs and try to get some value. Now Desolator coming. We'll see if Marco can try to save these save this Desolator. All right, sorry, Marco. So Marco is able to save his GIs there. Latov rerouting the Desolator down the middle here. And so Marco going to bring his GIs back to defend. That's a pretty good idea. That MCV is looking pretty juicy right now. See Latov kind of chomping at the bit for it. Pillbox on the top side to counter those conscripts. And yeah, you see, so Latov just trying to work around the GIs right now. Very nice pillbox to help catch him on the retreat here. Marco pushing into those rhinos. Needs to be a little bit careful here. He needs to pull back to those pillboxes, maybe try to reroute his GIs into position. Latov with a few smoking rhinos. He has no machine shop though, so those rhinos will not be repairing. And now Latov out with another, same Desolator? Another Desolator? Not sure. All right, so Desolator coming now. We'll see if these GIs, and the GIs are going to go down. We'll see if Marco, the pillbox. So Marco is able to save a few of those GIs. Very, very nice unit control there. So now Rocky's pushing in. See what can get done. So Eagle's over. You think that Eagle might have landed a hit. This is getting to be a scary amount of rhinos, though. Pushes into that pillbox. Now, so Marco has that barracks on the top right there to get some fodder in the fight. Again, Latov forced to pull out. So both these guys moving so quick. Up, down, left, right. A lot of nice action here. Tries to go over and hits that flak track. Does miss it. And the Rhino numbers are getting a bit scary here and a bit tilting as Marco does get over on his second War Factory, though. Pillbox out to help defend. And Latov, look at this. I mean, Latov, we're at the 3-minute mark now. 3 War Factories, a couple flat cannons. Looking very, very comfortable. And so Marco's going to head down to that power plant. 3 Eagles is not enough to hit it. Ooh, but does bait that flak track and does take it out. Very nice. See if he can also take a Rhino here. Defensive paradrop from Marco. Obviously trying to slow things down. Building into that top left corner and try to turtle in a bit. Try to delay this game. These techs are looking pretty juicy from Marco, bottom left. I'd expect to see Latov bounce down there and try to make him pay for it. But you got to know that a player like Marco here is looking to go right down the middle if these Rhinos get out of position and the opportunity presents itself. Now another Desolator from Latov coming out. Marco's economy, he's doing okay. He's only on 1K, but he's not going broke. Sniper out now to clean out the fodder. Cleaning out the fodder, so Marco gets a nice fodder advantage. Ooh, pays quite a few Eagles there. Marco's going to need to be careful. He cannot afford to keep throwing these Eagles, especially as he switches over to Battle Lab Tech. Marco now going to start pushing Mirage tanks. Obviously, the key to victory here against these Rhinos. The Mirage tanks are now out, and yeah, if Marco can keep his economy up, we're going to get into a mid-late game here. It's going to come down to Deso Bombs versus Mirages, and Marco needs to be careful with these Eagles. Latov is so heavily flat cannoned right now. I'm not sure he can get much value out of them, and he's going to put himself broke. I think it's more important to be pushing the Mirage tanks, but I'm not one to question the GOAT. Well, I am one to question the GOAT, but generally incorrectly. As we see a forward Kirov now from Latov, that's going to force Marco to try to scramble anti-air, which is not really the position he wants to be in right now. Doesn't really have the money or the time for it. GGI is in that BF, going to be a little bit late. IFV's over, and you know that Latov's going to try to back this Kirov with a Rhino push, and Marco responding a bit slowly now. Latov going around the bottom left. Grizzlies coming. The Grizzlies coming to defend. The BF is over. The IFV's out. Oh, and the Kirov goes go down. Gets quite a bit done. Nice split from Marco. If you guys missed it there, Marco sent a few Mirages to take out the Dreadnought. Latop coming at him from all angles right now. We do have the Iron Curtain out for Latop as well. So Latop with a nice, I mean, really straddling the line. I used to talk about at the lower level, it's like, are you going to mass Rhinos or are you going to push tech? And some of these top level players now, they have these beautiful builds that really do a great job of both. As we see, you know, Marco having to deal with the Dreadnoughts, the Iron Curtain, the Kirov, and the Iron, you know, and obviously, and at the same time, it's a storm of Rhinos going to go right down the gut and should pretty easily be able to get this MCV here, I believe. Oh, Force Shield now from Marco. He's going to pay quite a few Rhinos there for it. And so, and Marco does get over on the top side, and again able to take out that Dreadnought. Very nice unit control, and Latov pays a huge price. I really forget about the Force Shield, guys. I really like that mechanic. It really does. It makes it so you can mess up sometimes. Or not mess up, but it allows you to bait and switch a little bit, and makes it so like one wrong move doesn't cost you your MCV. Especially on these small maps like that, players can shoot down the gut so quickly. Now the Iron Curtain out, and don't think Marco's going to have another Force Shield ready. Will he have another Force Shield? Nope, no, not another Force Shield ready. So the MCV does go down there. You don't get two chances at it. The Iron Curtain does get through and gets it done. Now Marco gearing up the counter punch. There's going to be a lot of Desolators here on the front line. Marco needs some snipers. Marco does need some snipers. Lightning bolts take a couple of Marco's tanks there. So hopefully there's some snipers in this BF, because Marco needs to be trying to get some offensive value here with no MCV, down to 1 AFC. We'll see what he can get done. Edging on the edge of that radiation. There is a sniper in that BF doing a lot of work right now, but there's a lot of barracks here on the front line. Marco needs to be so careful. One Desolator right now could end everything for Marco. Where is the Desolator? If maybe they're getting sniped down, I'm not sure. Marco clicks down the tanks. Marco behind enemy lines right now. The BF doing work. The Mirage is doing work. The Sentry Guns goes down. Another Sentry Gun, and I don't think, and Latop able to hold the position there. Very nice defense. The Sentry Gun spam did wonders for him. Without a Desolator there, I was surprised. I thought he was going to be in trouble. The Dreadnought's still not getting too much done here. Oh, but he dives on that BF, and with that BF, the sniper goes down. Marco's not going to have a chance. Latop putting another one on the board. All right, so now Marco with Soviet here as we move on to point number 4. And quite the barn burner so far. Very, very even. You got to think the momentum, obviously, here in Latop's favor. Let's see, what do we got? What do we got? Oh, pretty split here. So 6 people voting on Latop, 5 people on Marco. So pretty even. But yeah, you got to think. I don't know. It's tough. Latop. He's a top-level player who's been playing a ton of Blitz, and that's exactly what he looks like today. Marco, I don't know. Latop just seems to be a little bit ahead across the board in all the faction matches we've seen so far. But we'll see. Marco, Soviet versus Allied here. You got to think Marco can put one on the board here. That would tie things up, but it's going to be tough. It's going to come down to who can get that Allied versus Soviet win as we switch over to swapped factions here. Again, this is best of 7. We switch over from best of 9. Both players agreed on it after that 20-minute point. People got bedtimes. It's a Friday night. We still got bedtimes. GI's coming to counter now. Conscripts and Rhinos. A lot of top action here. Both players favoring this top side and quite a few of these openings. It's interesting to see. You know, all month long we saw the action down here in the bottom middle, but the pros always do things a little bit differently here. And I guess they're doing a good job just kind of mixing things up. Now GI's pushing in. Marco going to need a nice sentry gun here and good unit control as well. So drives right in to those, cleans up those GIs nicely. Nice sentry gun. And Marco able to hold as the Latop puts himself broke again. Okay, all right. So now again, yeah, you got to think Marco wants to keep the pressure on here. He knows he's going to be pushing Latop's economy to the max right now. The GIs, the pillboxes. So you see Marco just trying to stay so aggressive here, but he needs to be careful. I mean, it's incredible what Marco can do with just a few Rhinos, but he needs to be careful because Latop has a good amount of Grizzlies right now, and we've seen what Latop can do with his pillboxes and his defensive positions as well. But Latop is going broke. Latop is going broke. He needs to be careful spamming these pillboxes. Now with 5 oils behind him, he should be getting a bit more comfortable, but there is a cascading effect to the economy. As you start going broke, you go more broke, you know, and then your oil comes later. You know, when that next oil comes out later, you're not used to that. Now your build is thrown off. You're at the point in the game where you want to push AFC. You don't have as much money as you're used to. So there is a kind of a cascading effect that can happen. And Latop's going to look to go right down the gut here. And Marco very, very slow to respond to this. And the Grizzlies are going to go right down the middle here. So Ooh, ooh, that's tough. GI is now on the top side from Latov. The GIs get cleaned up. So, but, wow. And Latov, so that was really interesting to me. Now Latov, Marco now regrouping. Man, this is weird. This is very, very odd. I thought Latov would have dove on the MCV there. Rocky's now in this group. Marco doesn't have any anti-air. Oof, this is a weird one, boys. So Latov, I thought Latov would go for the MCV, but he was worried because if Latov dove on the MCV, he would have gotten it, but he would have lost his units, and he would have got counterpunched, and he probably would have lost the game, I guess is the idea. And so Latov used that feint down the middle, baited the MCV dive, pulled Marco's split out of position. You saw Marco's split then got all discombobulated. Some of his tanks going around the water got confused. Wow, and Latov was able to clean up quite a few rhinos, but incredible unit control from both players. That's one of those positions where we're kind of flipping coins. Like, for neither player to blunder that position, well, it wouldn't even be a blunder. If either player would have made any inaccuracies in those positions, it would have immediately tilted in the other player's favor. So both players to maintain that position, impressive by both players. And now we're going to see Marco again try to gear up this split. And we'll see if Latov tries to bait down the middle again. I don't know why not. The MCV is looking juicy to me, but I think he would get counterpunched pretty severely. So Rhinos coming in from the top side. Latov trying to hold with GGIs and GIs. He's going to bring his Grizzlies to the bottom side. He's going to severely out-tank on the bottom side. Marco needs to pull off the bottom side and see what he can get done with the top side until Latov brings his Grizzlies up. Latov not splitting his tanks. Latov using one single group to try to defend both sides. Not generally the move, but I'm, the Deso King. Maybe he knows something I don't. With that being said, he does lose his MCV, and now the AFC goes down as well. Marco with incredible unit control. Paradrop on the backside, grabs a War Factory. One War Factory down, two War Factories down before Marco can stop the bleeding on the back end. Doesn't get the MCV, so Marco now, you got to think Latov, I don't know, what can Latov do here? He's in trouble. Marco continuing the pressure. You'd expect Marco to pull back here, but Marco's got a bedtime. It's late. These games have been going long. The GOAT is hungry right now. He's storming into these tanks. Instead of playing it safe here, he's going to go right down, smash out these buildings, force Latov to quit out, which he does. Marco puts one on the board, brings us to 2-2. Wow. Wow. Okay. Path with the raid. Thanks, buddy. Appreciate it. All right, here we go. Heading over to point number 5 now. Point number 5, 2-2. Any of you guys just joined us here? This is the Blitz World Series Championship for the month of September. We had Latov, the Deso King, fighting here in red out of Kuwait, and he's taking home, he took home the win versus Legend just earlier today to get him into the championship here. Obviously, he's our reigning champion from last month, and he's looking tough this month as well. Marco, though, Marco really showing up this month as well. He took out Kian fairly decisively in that semifinal game. You YouTubers, you guys might have missed the semifinal game, Marco versus Kian. I might not post it because it was a bit of a blowout, to be honest. Not what you'd expect from the Octo Kid, but Marco beat Kian 4-1 in the semifinal game to get here. Yeah, Kian. So, yeah, like I said, guys, you guys might have missed it already. It's a little bit bittersweet. Kian, Kian's like 16 years old, and for a long time, he was very committed to Red Alert 2. He played basically all the time, and you can see that by how good he was. But I think Kian's got a girlfriend now, and now Kian seems a little bit more distracted, which is okay. I'm happy for him, because real life technically is more important, but getting 4-1 by Marco, I'm like, buddy, what's going on here? But hey, there's more important things for a 16-year-old kid, so bittersweet. Kian getting a little bit worse at Blitz, having more fun in real life. That's okay. All right, so now Latov with Soviet, Marco with Allied. Marco brings those GIs over, but they do get chased out. It only takes down the corner of the wall. Not able to get the power plant before the Desolator got there. That's a bit annoying. That power plant hit for Allied can be very nice to slow down the Soviet Rhino Storm before it can hit full mass. Now Marco switching over to a fairly early AFC. Most of the day we've seen Marco going double War Factory before AFC. Nice little hold, forcing Latop into that bottleneck. GIs and pillboxes getting some nice value as the Rockies are out now. So this Rocky's going to go pick on that Desolator. Probably should be able to get that Desolator. Ooh, nice flat. Man, that flat track was quick. That's why he's the Deso King. That's why he's the reigning champ. Quick on the click, old Latop. All right, now an Eagle out to chase down this flat track, and he pulls back when the flat cannon comes up. My God, these guys move so much faster than I can see. It's crazy. Yeah, so the build speed is faster, yeah. Units and buildings. Ooh, gets in and grabs that barracks. That's a nice little cancel out. Might have had another war factory coming, possibly. Cancel out the text tree, gonna slow him down a little bit. Oh, had an oil coming anyway, didn't matter, but does have to rebuild the barracks. With those eagles, if you can get a clean hit, if you can hit and run and not have to pay any eagles for it, it's always very, very nice. All right, so eagles, another hit of eagles coming. What's the target here? Grabs the barracks again. And that time Marco paid a few eagles for it. Marco doesn't have the money to be sacrificing eagles aimlessly, but he is slowing down Laptop a little bit. That one might have actually canceled out a war factory, hard to say. But now Laptop with the barracks on the top side. And you know, there's something to be said here for as well as, oh, this Prism Tower, very nice. And I'd like to see a sniper back this Prism Tower. The counter for a Prism Tower is infantry units, dogs, right? Because the Prism Tower has a slow cycle rate, or rate of fire. So if you can get some snipers to clean out the fodder, that can be really nice. Sniper on the front line here for Marco, helps slow down the fodder. He's got a pretty good amount of Grizzlies here. Just needs to be careful. Laptop with a bit of a fodder advantage. That sniper getting a little bit of work done here. Eagles coming now, going to grab that power plant. Oh. Ooh, grabs that oil. I don't love that. I think Marco thought that was going to chain react. Like I said, a lot of these pro guys, they're used to the old oils. You know, for months it was like, if you can hit an oil, hit it, the whole base explodes. But the new oils won't chain react that far away. So I think it would have been safer to hit the power or the oil down here. You wouldn't have had to pay anything for it. Marco doing a great job straddling his economy right now. He's been sitting on 1K, 2K for a while. He's not going broke, but he's not going rich, and that's really what you want. I mean, yeah, it's nice to have 10K in the bank, but sometimes it means you're overproducing. So Kirov out now. See how quickly Marco can respond. He's got one Patriot missile, and now an IFV out, and Laptop's going to try to edge in and maybe try to support this Kirov. Now multiple IFVs, multiple Patriot missiles. It stops for the Prism Tower, and it does get it, but that's going to be it. His Laptop switches over to Tech, and Marco taking a bite down the middle here. Oof, very, very risky with those Grizzlies. And now the Rhino shooting from the top ground. Oh, that little hesitation in the middle going to cost Marco a lot. Marco sat down in that crater for a second. Those Rhinos were on the higher ground, got a lot of free shots, and now Laptop is nicely out tanking here. Marco not on Battle Lab Tech. Marco on 13K. The Battle Lab's got to be coming, but the Dreadnought's already out. He dives the Eagles, takes out the Dreadnought, but it does get 2 shots off. Only one gets through because of the Patriot missile. The War Factory doesn't go down. The War Factory now on 1 tick top left. Now Marco trying to bring some fodder in to try to slow things down. This is a lot of Rhinos, guys. It's a scary position. Do we have a pillbox from Marco? Do we have, what else could we get? Some defensive Eagles? Nope, nothing. Those Rhinos are going to roll through. Marco is slowing down those Dreadnoughts, but it's not going to be enough. Marco quits out, and Latov puts that one on the board. So Latov picking up the Soviet versus Allied win as expected there. Marco doing a great job in that game, getting early value as the Allied player, while also resisting, playing good defense. I think, you know, you saw him hit that 13K late game, and yeah, you know, he needed the Battle Lab a little bit earlier. I think you got to get those Mirages out a little bit earlier, but obviously a little easier said than done sitting up here telling people what to do. Best of 7. If we get to game number 7, the players will pick their own factions. So this is best of 7 here. Yeah, so now, yeah, if Latov can get the win versus Allied, he will be able to take it home. If not, we'll be coming down to match point. Blazer's here. Blazer loves Blitz. Have you guys heard? Blazer loves Blitz. I'm gonna tell everyone. Yeah, if you guys missed it, Blazer loves Blitz now. It's this whole thing. All right, anyway, GI's on the top side, conscripts on the top side, so both opening heavy on the top. Marco's got to secure the Soviet win. These guys obviously struggling in Blitz in general, particularly on this map. The Allied struggles. Allied does struggle, so it can create some tough positions. But if a player is able to get the Allied win, obviously it does swing the series. There's a bit of a kind of a back and forth after the mirrored matches here. Marco fighting to stay in it. Latov fighting to send him home. Grizzlies right down the middle. They hesitate. Oh, I don't think they could have got the MCV anyway, but it does pull Marco. And again, Latov using that feint down the middle to pull Marco away from what he was doing, right? He was trying to dive on that power plant. He should still be able to get it here. And again, Latov going to go down the middle. Marco gets it. Now Marco has to pull back. Oh, and again, man, I keep thinking Latov's going to go for it. I keep thinking he'd get it, and I think he would. But again, I think the counterpunch would probably end the game. But obviously, I'm hitting the MCV dive button way too early in my games. It's tempting. It's fun. Burger. All right, so now Conscript's on the top side. There's a sniper out to thin out this fodder. Marco dives on that barracks. I think he's just going to hit and run here. He does push in. Marco going to continue to push into these GIs. Not advisable here. Marco needs to be careful. If he goes around this backside, he can put himself out of position a little bit. But Marco does need to go away from those GIs. Right out of range of those GIs. Does grab that machine shot, but a few of his tanks hit on the way home. And now... Marco a bit out-tanked, but no machine shop. Quite a few smoking tanks in that group. Marco needs to be careful pushing into these GIs, though. But then again, I don't need to tell Marco to be careful. I'll tell Marco something's scary, and then Marco runs over all the GIs with a bicycle and laughs at me. So who knows what I know? That's the point. GI still pumping from Latov, trying to hold this position here. It's all about resisting early on for the allied player. And so far, Latov doing a pretty decent job here, massing a lot of GIs, but he does seem to have the economy for it at the moment. Paradrop on the back right. See how Marco responds to this. Marco on 7K. That's a lot of GIs and no radar. No radar for Marco. So Marco needs to get a radar out ASAP. Couple rhinos in the backside, clean up that paradrop nicely. Oh, the GIs get out of position, not backed by those Grizzlies. Marco gets in and cleans them up, but Marco's a bit out tanked here. Where's the sentry gun from Marco? Latov is forced to pull out though. Never underestimate the power of the rhinos here. Now the rhinos chasing him out. Couple reinforcements coming in. I thought Latov might be able to get that one done, but it's difficult to appreciate. Tank battles with the GOAT are always a little bit scary, especially when you got Grizzlies against rhinos. So Latov not quite able to support his GIs the way he needed to there. Few snipers on the front end, and I think that's why you're seeing Marco not even try to build a Desolator right now. I forget about that. The snipers here. 3 snipers on the front line. Yeah, Marco's not even going to waste his money trying to build Desolators, although he's on 12K, so he certainly has the money for it. Marco splits off bottom side, going to try to grab that oil. Looks like he will get it. So now Marco going to converge right here, all of his units, bringing in some fodder as well. Marco going to push into 2 Prism Towers and a handful of Mirage tanks. He knows the Mirages are coming. He's going to push right in here, drives past the Mirage tanks. That Prism Tower getting quite a bit of work done. The GI's a little bit late to the party, and the Rhinos storming through. He's going to run over the GIs. Now GGI's into support. A few Mirages in this group as well, but Marco able to click them down. The GGI's just run away. You can't run them over. Oh, the dog comes in. That dog doing work. Latov quits out. Marco puts one on the board. It's officially a barn burner. It brings us to point number 7. Both players picking their own factions. You got to assume they're going Soviet versus Soviet. Allied really struggling here today. Oh my God, what a barn burner, boys. All right, yeah, the barn burner, guys. Match number 7 here in the championship. The barn is officially burning. The barn is officially burning. Both players going Soviet versus Soviet, just as you would expect. And here we go. It all comes down to this, guys. The championship, the championship.
Warning, weather control device.
As Allied just starts spamming Prism Towers. Yeah, the Allied. The thing is, though, you know, in a lot of these matches, Marco says, good luck, GG's, well played. Marco, it's always so nice, man. It's really, it's difficult to appreciate, guys. I mean, guys being good sports to each other. Marco going beast mode, we shall see. It's always such a pleasure having, you know, having guys in here who make my life easier too. You know, today we had lag issues, we got behind on the schedule, all this stuff happened, and, you know, Latov and Marco just rolling with it, not giving me a hard time, which is always nice. I'm trying my hardest. You know, I don't wake up in the morning and try to mess with people, but unfortunately, you know, it's a 20-year-old game and we do have issues. So truly appreciate both these guys hanging in here today and putting on a show for us here, of course. Burning down the barn, match number 7. It all comes down to this. Both players picking Soviet as expected here. It does happen, though. You know, we have seen even at the top level some Allied versus Soviet wins. Marco beat Kian with an Allied versus Soviet. Jumps in, evicts the tent to start things off. I like that. Yeah, I think Allied, you got to tech up. These guys really, you know what? These guys, I feel like, don't even, their Allied looks, I think they're just like, screw it, I'll win my Soviet points. Because that's the other thing, too. You could just win your Soviet points, theoretically, and win the series, right? Kind of, right? You could win. Anyway, the point is, these guys, yeah, there are some players who are more traditional Allied players who play it stronger, but both these guys, obviously, much more comfortable with a pack of rhinos in their pocket. So Marco going to jump it down again. Going to go for that power plant. And it looks like he will get this power plant. And Latov, we're going to see Latov kind of faint down the middle as he's done before. But Marco doesn't take the bait this time. Latov was hoping Marco would pull back. But Latov's been fainting down the middle a lot. And Marco that time said, nope, I'm going to take your power plant. If you want to go on the middle, you can. So Marco with the first strike here, taking out that power plant, and in a sheer battle of Rhino versus Rhino, taking that power plant can make a difference. It throws off your build, and theoretically it should give you a tank advantage here. Although Latov looking like he's ahead on tanks. Marco now War Factory advantage. No, okay, so Marco War Factory advantage and a slight, maybe slight Rhino advantage. Both players with tons of fodder involved. You'd expect the Deso King to be going radar, but yeah, so Latov is delaying his radar a bit more than we normally see from him. He doesn't want to fall behind on Rhinos against the GOAT, so he's just going to keep pumping those War Factories, gets his third one out, now over to radar, and can Marco go? Oh, Marco matches, so Marco now with the radar as well. So it's going to come, now you expect, Latov's been teching up faster. You'd expect that, but hey, we might not even get there. This game could end in the opening. Desolator out now from Latov. This position getting a little bit tricky. Marco matching with Desolators, so both players out with Desolators. This one's going to come down to sheer unit control if they choose to engage in the open field up here on these bumps. Who can get more value out of their Desolators? Both players with almost identical builds now. Battle Lab's out, but we do see Latov. Latov gets the first Kirov out. Now this Kirov will force Marco over to flak tracks. Marco matches. Marco opens Kirov on the top side. So both players now need to get some anti-air involved, and Latov delaying this Kirov. Very curious. What do you guys think about that? I think send it. Maybe he's already worried about how many flak tracks he has. And a flak boat from Latov. Those little guys get it done. All right, so this Kirov, he's going to get the machine shop. That's a really nice hit. That's really, really nice value. And now he's going to send his Kirov topside, and Latov gearing up the hit. Oh, the Desolator. Oh, the Desolator's down the middle from Marco, get gobbled up by those dogs. And now Latov with a pretty good fodder advantage on this attack on the bottom. Oh, the Kirov, what did he grab? A War Factory, didn't get the machine shop though. Now Squid's out from Marco. So we do have a bit of a, sent Latov over to try to support, take out some flak tracks. Doesn't get it done though. And so the Iron Curtain advantage, almost identical. Oh my God, identical Iron Curtains. Oh my God, is there a word for that? Oh yeah, I feel like I came up with this word the other day. Iron Curtain Clips, Iron Curtain Eclipse, and Iron Eclipse. And we have an Iron Eclipse, simultaneous Iron Curtains. I've never seen it before. Desolator's in, ooh, and those Desolators just get a little bit of chip damage done. That'll help out. Remember, he doesn't have a machine shop, so that can give him a nice edge here. So simultaneous Iron Curtains, how are they gonna use it here? Wow, you can feel the palpable, the tension is in the air right now as the Kirov over from Marco on the bottom side, sentry guns on the top side to help support. Defensive Iron Curtain from Marco. He splits up. He's going to chase down the stretch on the left side, but Marco goes down the middle. Or sorry, Latov going down the middle with his Iron Curtain. He takes out the Battle Lab. Marco loses his force shield, and Latov still taking down tanks. Can't afford to dive on the MCV, so he doesn't get it, but he gets the Battle Lab, but doesn't get the MCV. Marco's Kirov uncontested on the bottom right. This could be the hero of the day, getting some work done in all of that action. Marco was able to sneak a Kirov in. I didn't see it. Latov didn't see it. Forcing the sell on a War Factory. Going to get this oil as well. Take another War Factory with it, and that's going to be a very, very nice punch. Marco wants more, though. Taking another bite on the top side. He is out tanking right now. Latov pulling back to a defensive position. Can the Deso King get the Desolators in that he needs right now to slow down this punch? Marco is coming now. Marco splitting off. Latov going to try to go for a base trade if Marco gives it to him. Marco now splitting off his tanks to hold. Desolators on the backside to help hold. He gets a nice punch on the top side. Marco's tanks now splitting off, getting a little bit confused. I know, I certainly am. Marco now regrouped down the middle and top right. Latov not quite splitting off in time, and Latov not getting the value out of his Desolators you expect to see from the Deso King. As I say that, Desolators on the top side doing a lot of damage on Marco's top side split. Marco on the bottom side now, and Latov heavily going bottom, and Marco's going to push it on the top. Now he can push it on the bottom. The Iron Curtain from Marco, and Latov with no Iron Curtain to hold, and Latov, he says, maybe I can take a base trade. Not going to happen. Marco takes it home. Marco, the GOAT, the winner. And I do have a button for this in case you guys are curious.